Well, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are. uh, Thank you guys for joining me today in this live stream Q&A. If you don't know who I am, if this is your first time joining, welcome. My name is Angela. I am a full-time voiceover artist and audiobook narrator, and my channel is dedicated to all of you who are just getting started out in this wonderful world of voiceover and audiobook narration. And through my channel, I share with you some techniques that I use every day in my own voiceover business, and I answer your questions. And I also hold these live Q&As once a week, if I can. So far, I'm doing pretty good, so we'll keep it up. And if you're not new here, then you know that I have a poll. Every live chat, I have a poll, because I'm curious to get feedback from other voice artists, whatever your experience level. And that is today's poll is, how do you keep track of your clients or jobs, right? Because it can quickly get overwhelming, not knowing where your clients are coming from or how many jobs you've done for them, how much they may owe you, what the word count was, just to get an idea to keep track of your rates and what you've charged people in the past, et cetera, et cetera. How do you keep track of all of that? Because it can be a lot. I mean, if you take into account not only your website, direct business, but all of the different websites that we're on to find work, like Upwork and Fiverr and voices.com, Voice123, Badalgo, Voice Giant, Voquent, Voice Jungle. There are tons of them, right? How do you keep track of all of them? So far, we only have 5 votes. And the responses I had were spreadsheet or an Excel document, because I know some of you are really good at those. 40% of you say spreadsheet or Excel document, which I think is a good alternative if you don't have or don't want to use a CRM. Although CRMs can be very helpful, especially if you have a CRM that has like emailing, reminders, invoices, that sort of thing. Some CRMs are very, very useful. We just got a couple more votes. So 7 votes. Let me backtrack. 7 votes. 43% of you say spreadsheet, Excel document. 14% of you say CRM. And 43% say other. And if you do say other, I ask that you please share with the rest of the class what it is that you do to keep track of your clients, because we're all here to perhaps learn a little something new, little nuggets of gold that we find in just everyday conversations. So if you do use an alternate to either a spreadsheet or a CRM, please share it in the chat, share it with the class. Especially if you enjoy it or if it works well for you, then definitely please share. All right, let's head over to the chat and say hi to everybody. Hello, hello, hello. Thank you everybody for joining. First up, we have Michael V. He says, Tuesday is my favorite day. I get to speak with you. Stop. And right now I have some training classes that I'm taking for Fiverr. That's great, because Fiverr in particular can be a bit tricky, because there is that algorithm that we have yet to completely crack. I don't know if anyone has really got a really good pulse on, well, I think some of us that have been on there for a while have a really good pulse on Fiverr, but how the algorithm actually works remains a mystery. But training classes are great for helping you to find out at least what to do, what not to do. Maybe some useful information on how to write your titles and your tags, and how to make the thumbnails, whether to use video or not. Any kind of information you can pick up from outside sources on understanding Fiverr better are definitely good. The Spectral Voice says, hi, Angela. Hello, the Spectral Voice. Just finished my first movie trailer voiceover. Congratulations. I'm so stoked. You should be. Those are fun. It's great to be here today. It's great to have you. Hope your day is off to a great start. It is. It is. I woke up to a lot of new inquiries on Fiverr alone, and I have a lot of work to do today. I have a lot of work to do today. This whole weekend was just jam-packed with just trying to get caught up again. Goodness. Pritchard's Book Cafe, excuse me, says, Stephen in St. Joseph, Missouri. I'm new at this, so here goes. Do you use a laptop in your recording studio, or do you use a tower in your recording studio or outside your studio? I have done all of those, and I have found that for me, mainly because of the fan noise. And I know people say there are computers out there that are very quiet, they're silent, they have no fans. But I think depending on how your computer is configured, if you don't have, because like the SSDs in them are noisy, the fans are noisy. And if you have a big enough rig, a big enough computer, like a tower that's like mine, got a lot of, you know, elements that can get hot when you're multitasking and rendering video and that sort of thing, there's going to be a lot of fans. So to keep the noise down, I recommend if you can't keep your laptop, tower, whatever you're using outside of your studio, or at least the immediate space in which you record, try to move it as far away from the microphone as you can, even if it is silent or fanless, because it might have other elements in it that make noise. If it doesn't, then great. You're one of the lucky few that I know of that have a completely silent computer. But in my experience, I have not found one that was quiet enough for my Sennheiser to not pick it up. So my computer is outside of my studio, and I have I have extra long cables for everything. So everything I need is in my recording space, but the tower itself is outside. So all the cords are extra long and they run under the door and outside. Excuse me. Mark Flores says, there's a frog again. God. I swear at the end of every weekend, I am like so close to vocal fry, just completely blowing my voice out. So I swear every Tuesday I come in here, I'm just like, ah. The joys of being a voice actor, right? Mark Flores says, good morning, Angela. I hope you had a great Memorial Day weekend. I did, but I was in here a lot. A lot of the weekend. Sean Lester 007 says, good afternoon. Just finished a morning just in time for the weekly support group. Editing while listening. Well, thank you for joining, Sean. I do the same when I can. If there's something that I can do that doesn't require me listening to two different things, I don't know how I guess if you're just kind of spot editing, you could listen, but I don't know if I can edit, like, for example, podcasts, if I can edit podcasts and then listen to something else on the side. I tend to usually watch YouTube videos with the sound off while I'm listening to podcasts. I do that, but I'm not skilled enough to learn to actively listen to two different things at once. So kudos to you. And thank you for listening while editing. I appreciate that. And it is a support group. It is. I think every one of us that come in here and participate and join and listen and ask questions and support each other every week, I think that's important. I think it is, especially for, industries like ours where we're all in a booth by ourselves for the majority of the day, or even if you're at work, if you still are working for someone else 9 to 5 and then come home and listen into your studio or get into your studio for hours, it's very isolating and lonely, right? So it's nice to connect to other people that understand the lingo and understand the trials, right? The difficulties that we face here together. Pritchard's Book Cafe says, I put other because I haven't done any yet. Excuse me, gosh. That's a good point. I should have put as another option as none or not yet. So you're right. I think that was my goof. But having a CRM, having something in place, at least an idea of what you want to use, can be very, very helpful to start. If you haven't started using a CRM or some way to track your clients, I would recommend that you do start. Even if you have one or two clients, I would definitely start, because it's a lot easier to start now with a small number of clients than it is to try to find everybody and input them all into a CRM later. That way you can keep track of how long, like a tenured client, how long you've had them with you and how much money they've spent with you. Again, if they owe you any money, if they have an unpaid invoice, where they found you. That is very important in itself, because wherever people are finding you most often, obviously you want to spend a lot more time there and nurturing that source of clients and making sure that it's as easy as possible for clients to not only find you, but to contact you, and that you can contact them quickly. There's a lot of benefits to having a good CRM. So if you don't have one, I would definitely recommend beginning the process of finding one that works for you. One that I've heard a lot about and I've personally used a little bit, but it never really clicked with me. And I know it's been updated a few times, so it might be a better alternative now, but that's VoiceOverView. I believe it's voiceoverview.com. It is a voiceover specific CRM, and it has a lot of great little analytics and spots for you to enter in customer information, where they came from, all of the things that I had mentioned. It's a good way to keep track of all of your customers. I did just a glancing, I saw what a CRM was. A CRM is a customer relationship manager, and it's usually in the form of a website, or you can make an an Excel spreadsheet. However you want to do it, but I highly recommend that you start at the beginning if you can, because it can easily get out of hand. Okay. Demetrius Cox says, "Good morning, Angela." Good morning, Demetrius. "I love your approach to helping the beginners." Oh, thank you. I try. I had a lot of help in the beginning, but I think not exactly what I was looking for. I think everyone that I found when I first started was, of course, already established, and they spoke all the lingo in the language, which I realize that I'm doing now, because I'm just, I am used to it. It's in my vernacular now. I use it because I know what all of the verbiage means. But I didn't really find anybody, apart from Anthony Pica, who really could reach me, or where I can follow and understand without having to look up every other word and what it meant, right? Okay, I lost my place. I already lost my place. But I'm happy to be here, Demetrius. Oh, you were the one that asked what a CRM was. Yeah, and then Clay, right underneath you, thank you, Clay, said a CRM means a customer relationship manager. It's a good thing to have to keep track of your clients, for sure. VoiceOver Van Deen is here. You brought the frog with you. Good morning. Good afternoon. VoiceOver Van Deen says, "I use a combination of methods, spreadsheets and database as a CRM that's stored locally, and an online accountancy program that links to my bank account and HMRC, tax in UK, for invoicing." That's pretty similar to what I use. Apart from the spreadsheet, I'm not organized enough to make a spreadsheet, but I think that would be a great way to do it. I have a CRM that is a part of my website. Wix has a little bit of a CRM, but that's for something else. But I don't really have a really great way to keep track of everybody from every platform. I think, what I think I'm going to do? I think I'm going to go back to VoiceOverView and give that another shot, because I have tracking in multiple different places, but not like one all in one, So I think that would make a whole lot more sense, because again, we have a bajillion different sources for clients to find us, right? Different sources of income from different places, different platforms. So to have it all in one place would be gold. Garbine468 says Audacity or Audition. I used both. I started with Audacity because it's free. Why not? And it does everything that we need it to do for voiceover or or narrating audiobooks. But I switched to Audition about maybe 3 or 4 months in after using Audacity because my partner used Audition. And he said, here, check this out. And I'm like, oh my God. And what it felt like to me when I switched from Audition to Audacity, excuse me, other way around. When I switched from Audacity to Audition, it felt like I was looking at my voiceover or my audiobook narration through a straw. Like using Audition just kind of opened up all of these possibilities and abilities to manipulate and to improve and to see. I mean, the spectral view alone is huge, where you can see the frequencies in the voiceover. You can see mouth noise, you can see the breaths, you can see all of the stuff that we need to make sure isn't there. So using Audition has been great for me. And I know there's a ton of different DAWs out there, but Audition is what I personally use. But I've used both. I say do whatever you like. I mean, use whichever DAW speaks to you, whichever one makes things easier to understand, because your DAW, is one of the things that is one of the most important aspects of your studio, because you're going to be looking at it for hours every day with whatever you're doing in your voiceover business. That is critical. So it's good to just choose a DAW that you like, that just is easy to work with, easy to understand, easy to manipulate and use for you. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to pop back up to the poll really quick. We got 15 votes. And again, the poll is, how do you keep track of your clients or jobs? And we've been talking a lot about this so far. I can't add another option for don't use any yet. I was hoping I could. But 53% say spreadsheet, Excel document, 13% say CRM, and 33%, the last option was other, please share. But if you don't use the CRM, you could use other, I suppose. But if you do choose other and it isn't, your answer isn't, I haven't used one yet, then please share with the rest of the class here on what it is that you use. We can all learn from each other. Mark Flores says, when I've got a lot going on, I usually use a calendar to schedule and coordinate my time and track my work with clients. Maybe switching to something else once I get busier. Yeah, I've heard that too. I know some people have like a big whiteboard in their studio where they keep track of, due dates and what you should be doing, like an agenda, like record 5 chapters this day, you know what I mean? This 2 chapters this day, this is due for this client on this day. And that's great for looking at it as a snapshot for what you need to do every day. And I use a agenda like notebook, right, that sits open on my desk all day. And so it's in my face. So it's essentially the same thing. But a CRM will help keep track of clients today, yesterday, a year ago, just to keep track of everybody from everywhere for every reason, right? Because it does come in handy. Not only that, but you can track what, if you're marketing, what sources are working best for you, what platforms or which approach in your marketing, what is working best for you, so you can focus on that. I feel like my train is derailing. Edwin 007, Edwin 00, Edwin 00. My gosh. How do you spell VoiceOverview? Is that right? Trying to look it up. I believe it is. Let me double check really quick for you. It's all one word, I believe. VoiceOverview. Yeah, voiceoverview.com. Voiceoverview.com. That is right. Okay. Lost my place again. Molly Bolton says, good morning. Good morning, Molly. I've been watching your videos for a couple weeks now and just got my setup ready to start recording. Nervous, but very excited. Yeah, I think many of us in this chat or joining today would definitely echo the same. It's nerve-wracking, terrifying, but exciting all at the same time. And just as a word of advice for you, Molly, because I think we've all done it and we've all felt the same way. In the first couple of months, you're going to start to like cringe when you're editing your voiceovers. You just, at the sound of your own voice, it's like nails on a chalkboard. It's like, how would anybody want to pay to hear that? Right? But they do. They do. So push past that and don't say that, your voice stinks or you don't have the talent, you don't have the skill. Push past it. That is, imposter syndrome. It's a form of imposter syndrome, I think, because you're telling yourself that you're not good enough because it sounds horrible to you, but you do get used to it. So push past that and keep going. Garbine468 says, I primarily use Audacity for the ACX check, but I'm trying to get more comfortable with Audition. Yeah, Audacity has, for those of you that don't know, Audacity has a third-party plugin that is a ACX standard checker. And ACX standards are the standards to which your audiobook file formatting needs to be set. So if you record audiobooks, then your files need to be formatted a specific way. And that is what we refer to as the ACX standard. And Audacity has a plugin that can check all that for you. Just click a button and it goes boop and it tells you what you need to fix. You can do the same in Audition if you know what you're looking for. And I do have a few videos here on my channel that explain to you how to find, I explain what a noise floor is and how to fix it for ACX. I also go through RMS and a few other things. I think I actually go through the process of recording and formatting an audiobook file in a couple of videos. So if you want to know more about using Audition for audiobook formatting, I do have videos here on my channel that go through that. So take a peek if you'd like. Vladimir Shutin says, hello. Hello, Vladimir. Thank you for joining. Edwin00 says, I like my chocolate milk stirred and maybe shaken. Thanks so much, Angela. Punch fear in the face. Absolutely. What a rebel. Shaking your chocolate milk. Punch fear in the face. That's right. Punch it right in the face. And fear could be anything. It could be, that goes for imposter syndrome, because that's what that is, right? It's fear. It's fear of not being good enough. It's fear of maybe I am good enough. Maybe I am good, but what if I get too busy? What if I can't handle it? What if, right? That's all. Fear is real in starting any kind of business, right? Not just voiceover and audiobook narration, but any kind of business. Taking that first step, that leap of faith is terrifying. But when you're ready, you definitely know. So I definitely say, if you're feeling any kind of hesitancy to start the business that you want to start or to take that first step, that's fear. And I say punch it right in the face. Because you can. You should. You should try. Absolutely. Vladimir says, I am 19 years old and I can speak 4 languages fluently. Impressive. Urdu, Pashto, Punjabi, and English. Wow, that's impressive. Other than that, I am learning 2 additional languages, Espanol and Portuguese. That's awesome. That is awesome. I spent a year in Spain and 3 months in Lisbon, Portugal. And I think Portuguese is beautiful. It's one of my favorite languages to hear. Professor Tracy says, good morning, Angela. Good morning, Professor Tracy. I am looking for a pop filter. Can you tell me where you got the one you use? I found this one. Oh, it's sideways. Sorry. I found this one. It wasn't on Amazon. I don't remember where I found this one. I bought this one a few years ago when I bought the Sennheiser. And as soon as I bought it and I received it and I started making videos, I don't know if it was discontinued or I don't know where it went. I haven't been able to find it since. There are others on there that you see, or like Amazon, or even Sweetwater.com. Sweetwater is a great website if you don't know about it. Sweetwater.com has tons of microphones, interfaces, anything professional audio and like musical instrument, that sort of thing. They have tons of stuff there. But Amazon, Sweetwater.com, they have tons of different pop filters, but it doesn't really matter what it looks like. The purpose of the pop filter, it has typically layers of mesh or like almost like a pantyhose material, like spandex cotton sort of. There's layers of that in there. And what that does is that diffuses the air when you're speaking for like the P's and the B's and the D's, when you have that puff of air come out of your mouth, it's going to catch that air, catch it, and then diffuse it between those layers of mesh or that material to reduce the sound of the plosive. But this one, I don't know where you can find it currently. If you know where you can find one of these, definitely put it in the chat and help people out. But I have not been able to find this particular one since I bought it. But the reason I liked this one, because not only does it look kind of cool, because it is different, but it doesn't get in my face when I make videos. Because who wants to watch a video with a big pop filter in your face? Because of the position of it, it's right here. So it would have to be like here or it just, this one was nice because it was smaller and it does have layers of mesh in it. So it diffuses the puffs of air. Doop-a-doop-doo. Michael V says, I actually put the link in the comment right above Edwin's comment. Let me scroll back up. I think because you put a link in your comment, it might have been filtered out. I don't know why that happens. But if you can repost without the .com, maybe, perhaps, that would help. So you don't get filtered out. VoiceOver Van Deen says, at Michael V, I tried to put a link to Angela's website the other week and it didn't post either. I think she's got them turned off to stop spammers. I actually haven't done. I think that might be a default setting, but good point. Good point. I typically don't get spammers in here because you do have to be subscribed. I did do that because I didn't want anybody stopping in and just saying, nasty things, because people do. I still get those from time to time, but luckily the filter catches them. Vladimir says, I want to utilize my linguistic skill in voiceover. You should. You absolutely should, especially if you're bilingual, multilingual. You should definitely use that to your advantage. Edwin00 says, thumbs up. Smiley face, thumbs up. Sean Lester 007 says, good word about fear. I've quit a part-time job because of the amount of VO I've been doing. Now I worry about how long the ride will last. Sean, I understand that fear, especially with the way things are going with AI developing. Some embrace it, some don't. I'm not quite sure how I feel about it yet. I know there is talk of, as a voice artist, having your voice licensed to be used as AI. I don't know if AI anytime soon anyway is going to have the ability to emote or perform or to deliver emotion the way that some things like audiobooks need to, right? So yeah, I'm not quite sure about the whole AI thing, but that's really the only thing that you should fear. As long as you're taking care of your clients, over delivering and making sure that, you're flexible. Sometimes some clients need a quicker delivery. Maybe they need a little bit of a discount because they're in the middle between the client and the budget. You know, if you're helping people out and providing great customer service to these clients, they will come back to you. It might not be the next day, it might not be next month, it might be next year. But having great customer service skills in any business is definitely going to help keep things going for you, as long as you also can keep advancing with current trends in voiceover and equipment, and as long as you can keep yourself providing the types of voiceovers that clients are looking for and providing that great customer service at the same time, your ride will continue. There's voice artists that have been doing this for 10, 20, 30, 40 years. It is all in how many different sources of income you have too, or how many different sources of where your jobs come from also will definitely help. But I wouldn't dictate your day or how you feel about your business, you know, with how long is this going to last. I would just keep pushing forward and you will continue to grow. Excuse me. JCCAOL says, is it easy to get work if you study languages and you are not a native speaker? Have you ever tried to do work in Spanish or Portuguese? I have recorded IVR, like phone greetings in Spanish, but not Portuguese. Not Portuguese. Because Spanish, Portuguese, and English, and I think a couple of others are derived from Latin, they're all they're similar enough that I can usually get by in reading and speaking it. I know Portuguese has got some different, you know, pronunciation. Some words are completely different from Spanish, but if you understand Spanish, I think at the very least you could probably get by with Portuguese and, you know, all the different variations in dialect and region, right? But understanding different languages will definitely broaden your horizons. You know, like for phone messages, for example, there's a lot of clients that come to me and say, hey, I have phone greetings, but I need them in both English and Spanish, right? So understanding how to read and speak those is definitely going to help. Here's the frog again. Excuse me, guys. God, I'm so sorry. Maybe that'll help. VoiceOver Van Deen, it looks like he's coming to the rescue. Your pop filter looks like a Hook Studios Octo 842S. Does that sound familiar? Hook Studios. It actually does. It actually does sound familiar. Is this still available through Hook Studios? Let us know. Molly Bolton says, I was recording yesterday for the first time, trying to get comfortable with it, and it definitely is weird hearing your own voice, for sure. I need to learn to relax and not clench my jaw. I have the same problem, the bruxism. I grind my teeth at night, and now I have TMJ, so my jaw is like perpetually sore, which makes the rest of my face sore. And I involuntarily, when I'm stressed, will clench my jaw. So I get that too. What you need to do is to try to relax as much as possible. Because not only if you're that nervous that you're clenching your jaw when you're doing your voiceovers are not going to sound natural. They're not going to sound like, especially with the trend nowadays that people just want conversational, like, you know, two buddies talking to each other type of voiceovers. It's not going to sound, it's going to sound, you know, forced, right? Or just uncomfortable. It's going to come off sounding the way you don't want it to sound if you're not relaxed. And I know it's intimidating when hitting that record button. You know, as soon as that record button turns on, we all turn into a different person because we think we need to be this other person or this other voice, this mic voice, when we have that record button on. And you just need to be you, just like I'm talking to you now. That's what people usually want. And if your jaw is clenched and you're nervous, it's definitely going to sound different, right? So do your best to try to relax. Do a little bit of meditation. You know, sit for 10 minutes and just listen to music. Let your heart rate slow down. Unclench that jaw. Just relax. And nice soothing teas. There's a lot of nice herbal teas that are relaxing. Just try to relax as much as possible. You'll also find that a lot of voiceover artists have lights like I do in the back. They're calming. My studio is dark. It's bright now because I have 2 ring lights in my face, but when I'm not recording videos or doing lives, my overhead light in my studio is actually blue. It can change any color I want to, which is also fun. And then I have the neon sign behind me and then a floodlight. I can make this a soothing, calming place so I can record voiceovers. It's also easier on the eyes too. So you'll find a lot of voice artists have a setup similar to that for that reason, because it's soothing, it's calming, right? So just do your best to try to relax before you get into the studio. Just woosah. Joy West says, hello everyone from Southfield, Michigan. Hello, Joy. I agree. I deal with imposter syndrome by just telling myself to just do it already. I feel so much better afterwards. Right. Facts, sister. That's right. Just do it. Just punch fear in the face and do it. Don't let fear decide your fate, right? You decide your fate. You decide what you do with your life, not fear. Vladimir says, I am from Pakistan and my lineage is Pashtun? Sorry if I pronounced that wrong. So Pashto is my mother tongue. Urdu is my national language. I know Punjabi because I live in Punjab and know English because from childhood I love English. Well, we love that you're here. Thank you for sharing. That's so interesting. Voiceover all over the globe. I love it. Tiffany says, Tiffany Marie reads, we have the same middle name, Tiffany. This may sound like a super dramatic and weird question, but how likely are voiceover artists likely to be sued? Ha ha. Just wanting to know because of the line of work. I know having a good contract is a must. I don't know if you're under NDA, like a non-disclosure agreement, and you break it, that definitely could be cause for being sued. I think that can only come from doing something with a client's project that they didn't give you permission to do or they don't want you to do. You could also come from perhaps music choices. If you are adding music or sound effects to your voiceover and it's belongs to somebody else and you've used it without somebody else's permission, I think that maybe could be another cause, but I think it's highly unlikely unless you're doing nefarious things with projects that belong to other people that they've paid for. But I think other than that, it's pretty unlikely. Garbine468 says, Toastmasters helps with practice and especially imposter syndrome. Yeah, absolutely. I've heard of Toastmasters. Lost my place again. Vladimir says, I never understood English grammar, but despite the fact I could speak more fluently than my friends who know the whole English grammar on their fingertips. I guess that's because I've watched a ton of English movies. That definitely helps too, for sure. Demetrius Cox says, Angela, on my ACX page, should I set up a sample of my work using any book? Also, do ACX standards apply to samples? According to ACX, you can use any old book. You can grab a book off your shelf and just use that as an example, or a sample rather. And if the author has a problem with that, then ACX will remove it. There are books in the public domain. If you just want to totally err on the side of caution, you can use a book in the public domain, which is outside of copyright. You can find those books on projectgutenberg.org. That is an entire website dedicated to collecting all of the books in the public domain. So you have a lot of great classics in there that you can use to record a sample if you like. I know ACX has made a lot of changes in the last year or so, but I don't think that your samples need to adhere to ACX standard. However, I think they should, because the final processing and formatting of your file is going to give the best idea to the client listening, to the rights holder listening, what the final project is going to sound like the volume, the crispness, all of that. So I think that anytime that you're sending a sample, audiobook or not, to the client, it should be processed the way that you process any delivery. That way they can hear the final product and what it would sound like. I think that would be fair to the rights holder or the clients, but I don't think it absolutely has to be. I could be wrong. JCC AOL says the Latin-based languages have some similarities as well as the Germanic languages. Angela, I personally think you should learn High Valerian. You would kill it. Maybe. There's a thought. Michael V says, I use the cork method in order to get my jaw from being really tight to actually functioning and enunciating clearly. I don't think I'm familiar with the cork method, Michael V. I think you might have to share. What is the cork method? Demetrius Cox says, Angela, do you know if anyone uses Pro Tools in VoiceOver? I do. I do know some people who use Pro Tools. I think most common DAWs that I have heard used for VoiceOver and audiobook narration are Audacity, Audition, Reaper, and oh, my train just derailed. Studio One, and then also Pro Tools. Those are the ones that I hear used the most. Simeon says, hey, Angela, right now my pricing is at $10 per 100 words on Fiverr. Would it be better to make it $5 per 50 words instead? Same pricing, but then maybe if it's cheaper, it'll result in more searches. I don't know. I can tell you from personal experience with playing with pricing on Fiverr, my best results have come from using 100 words. And I think my price point when I was $10 per 100 words, I think was probably one of the best price points I ever had. So as long as I don't know what level you are in Fiverr, but as long as you're similar to everyone else around you in your same kind of level and review number, I think that's a fair amount of money to ask for. I think dropping your price from to $5 per 50 words might get you a lot of volume, but probably won't move you forward in making the amount of money that you probably need to keep your studio running. Not only that, but then your average sale price is definitely a factor in the algorithm. So dropping your base price to $5 is definitely not going to help your average sale price rise, right? The higher your average sale price, the more often you're shown to those clients that spend that amount of money, if that makes sense. That was how it was explained to me from my Fiverr coach. So raising your average sale price by charging more is definitely going to help you in your algorithm for Fiverr. I hope that makes sense. But sticking to 100 words as your base price is pretty common. And it worked for me. It still does. So I would definitely stay with that. Nathali Carrera says, hello, everyone from Kentucky. I'm a newbie. Welcome. I was wondering if ACX does Spanish books too. They absolutely do. Also, any DIY noise proofing ideas to start with? The best noise proofing that I can offer you is to move your computer or anything that makes noise as far away from the microphone as you can. And as you can see in the picture around me, my walls are lined with moving blankets. You can also use the little acoustic foams, little wedges. You can use those, but softening the walls around you, the hard surfaces around you are going to produce reverb or echo. So you want to reduce that with covering the hard walls in your recording space with softer things, blankets, towels, and don't forget your desk surface also will reflect. And if you have a glass monitor that you're looking at for your computer system, will also reflect your voice as well. So really think about your recording space and try to reduce the amount of hard, flat surfaces in your space to reduce the reverb. But other than that, those are probably the two most important I can think of, unless anybody else can think of anything else. But those are the things that immediately jump out at me, is moving any kind of source of noise as far away from your mic as possible and softening the surfaces around you if you can, because that will definitely help. Oh, and your recording space definitely needs a real hard look as well. Choosing a recording space, you want to be as far away from noise, high traffic areas, things like that. Really give that some thought too. And that space should also be a dedicated space, a space that you don't, ideally, that you don't have to put away every night, right? Someplace that the structures around you, the mic placement distance, everything around you stays the same, because all of that will contribute to your voiceover sounding the same from job to job to job, from client to client to client, because your clients will rely on you to produce the same sound every single time. So keep that in mind too. How we got on time? We got about another 15 minutes. Molly Bolton says, I decided to record from the Project Gutenberg website that I saw from your videos. Thank you for that. You're welcome. How many do you recommend? That dang frog again. Sorry, guys. How many do you recommend I start with for my ACX profile? I don't think there's a limit. So I would have a sample for each different type of genre or tone that you're going to use. If you have the ability of, if you know different languages, I would have a sample for each language that you know. So, for example, I would have one that's for horror, one for young adult, one for children's, one for, like a self-help type of a book, so on and so on. But spicy books too. Don't count out the spicy books if you're open to it. But have a sample for every different type of genre or tone. That might definitely help. Simeon says, the cork method is when you try to speak while having a bottle cork in between your teeth, so your mouth opens wider. Interesting. I have not heard that before. Got the old gears turning. Edwin00 says, hey, Sean Lester, keep this in mind too. You are awesome. And when fear comes center... Let me try this again, guys. Retake. Hey, Sean Lester, keep this in mind too. You are awesome. And when fear comes, center yourself in your VO vision and keep pushing. You can do it. Very nicely said, Edwin. I couldn't agree more. Good job. You get the award for comment of the day. Michael V says, with the cork method, you place a cork in between your front teeth. Interesting. I might have to try that. Does that help with relaxing your jaw? Nathali, I hope I'm saying that right. Alrighty, thank you. You're welcome. Kirk is here. Hi, Kirk. Achna, greetings from PA Dutch country. LOL. Been driving and listening. Reminder, don't forget to like the stream or vid. Tickle Angela's algorithm. I felt naughty saying that, Kirk. But he's right. Don't forget to hit that like button. I really appreciate it. That does help my algorithm. It helps. It tells YouTube that you guys like what I'm doing, and they'll show my content more to other people just like you looking for this information. So he's not wrong, but tickling my algorithm. That's so funny. Kirk. Michael V says, then say your lines or speak and then after that take the, let me try this again, retake. Then say your lines or speak, and then after that, take the cork out of your mouth and do your lines or speak again, and you should find that your jaw has loosened some and you can enunciate a bit clear. I think my problem is that I over-enunciate too much. And I still do it. I've always done it. I've always been one of those sticklers for proper English. And so I enunciate probably too much. And clients always tell me, you sound like Alexa or Siri or something, but I can't help it. It's been an ongoing struggle to just relax and just speak, like in a relaxed way. I don't just chill out, Angela. Just talk to people. You don't have to enunciate every single word. I think it. So I don't know if the cork method is going to help me to keep me from over enunciating, but maybe I will if it helps to relax the jaw, because I do have that problem. Jeff and Lori Ostry says, where would you start on Fiverr as a newbie price and word count wise? When I first started on Fiverr as a brand new seller, your main goal is to get that social proof. And what do I mean by social proof? I mean reviews. Because you, as a consumer, if you're looking at two different items on Amazon, the exact same item, exact same price, but one has no reviews and one has maybe 1 or 5 5-star reviews, which one are you going to buy? Right? Which one are you going to look at? Which one are you going to click on to take a deeper look into? The one with reviews, right? So the idea is to start at a price that you're comfortable with, that is also, similar to everyone else that is also a new seller, because you don't want to overprice yourself that you don't even get looked at, but then you don't want to underprice yourself too much that you're not making any money, and don't undervalue yourself. But at the same time, myself, I started in the very beginning as a brand new seller on Fiverr. I started with 100 words for $5. And then once I started to get that social proof, I increased my rates, because that social proof, those reviews are gold. And it's an unfortunate that they are, but they are. They just are. So pick a price that's comfortable for you in the very beginning, and again, similar to everyone else in your category as a new seller. I'm not going to tell you exactly what to use, because everybody's ideas on this are different, but that's what I started with. VoiceOver Van Deen says, if you look on the inside of the bracket, if it's a Hook Studios one, they actually print their domain name on the inside of the bracket part. There's something there, but I can't read it because my eyeballs are blurry. Let me see. I think it actually does say Hook Studios. Interesting. Hang on. Let me grab I need to shine some light on this because I can't. My eyeballs are just... Oh, I can't really see what that says, but I'll have to take a look at it. But I think it does say that. But I'll take a look at it, guys, and I'll let you know. Andre says you can also use your thumb instead of the cork. Oh my gosh. For using your thumb, that might be... Make sure you wash your hands first before you do that. Well, I guess that goes for the cork too, doesn't it? I'm such a germaphobe. But thank you for that. Thank you guys for your advice and your comments. I appreciate that. Ash says, good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon, Ash. Thank you for joining. Flyer here says, hi, Angela. It's Eric from the Friday Academy class. Hi, Eric. Listening for those golden nuggets of yours. Well, I hope I had some golden nuggets today. I don't know if I did. I hope I did. I mean, that's the whole point of this, right? And not only for the community, for everybody coming in here together and hanging out and helping each other and providing me with golden nuggets. I hope I dropped a couple at least. I appreciate everybody coming in. Okay, so let's take one last look at today's poll. And if you have any ideas or any kind of poll ideas that you would like to know what everybody else's take is on, put it in the comments for me. Maybe I'll use it next week. But today's poll was, how do you keep track of clients or jobs? And we got 23 votes. We have 61% of you say spreadsheet or Excel document. 13% of you say CRM, and 26% say other. Please share. However, I didn't put in I don't use a CRM. So if you don't currently use a CRM, you can use other for that purpose. So 26% of you say other, or I don't use a CRM. That's interesting. I highly recommend, if you haven't even considered starting using a CRM, I would definitely do that. That way you can keep track of, because in the beginning you have a smaller number of clients. It's better to start now than having to go back a couple of months or a year and try to input everybody in to keep track of everybody. So the sooner you start one, definitely better. All right, I'm just going to, we got a few more comments. Eric says, sure you did, as always. Well, thank you, Eric. I appreciate that. Simeon says, I just started on Fiverr a week ago and finished my first gig. Oh, that's awesome. Plus the client left a 5-star review. That's awesome. Congratulations. I'm considering lowering my price to $5 per 100 words. Is that smart? I wouldn't lower your price from what it currently is if you already have an order. I don't want you to undervalue yourself to try to, wave a flag and be more cost effective for people, because you also might upset that client that just placed an order with you, because if you buy something for $10 and then 2 days later it's $5, you're going to be mad, right? I definitely would not go backwards with your pricing. Once you're at a certain place, go up. Don't go down. You can adjust your word count if you want to, although I'm told, and from my personal experience, 100 words for your base price works really, really well. It's worked well for me for 4 years now. But don't drop your prices. Adjust your word count, but don't drop your prices. Simeon also says, I'm looking to get more reviews rather than pay at the moment. Yeah, I totally get it. The reviews are gold. Demetrius says, great discussion, Angela. I have to go, but I'm looking forward to chatting with you again soon. Well, thank you for joining us. I hope you're still here. Thank you so much for joining us today, and I hope to see you next week. Simeon says, currently my price is at $10 per 100 words. Yeah, that worked for me for a long, long time. Nathali says, Angela, the H in my name is silent, so it's pronounced Natalie. Now I just feel like a goober. It's fine, though. Natalie is also fine. Thanks for your wisdom and help with VO. I apologize for butchering your name. That's the first time I've seen it spelled that way, so I apologize. But thank you for correcting me. Now I just have to try to remember that. But looks like that is pretty much it for today, you guys. Thank you, every single one of you that has joined us today. I hope to see you all next week. Same bat time, same bat channel, Tuesday, 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And I will see you guys then. Don't forget to like. Again, I appreciate it. And I guess that's it. Bye, everybody. See you next week.